I just spent 10 nights on board Fred Olsen Borealis. In this video, I'm going to show you around the ship. I'll tell you how the areas are used, how busy they got, and what my experiences were of using the facilities. This isn't your usual ship tour. Think of it more as a story of the ship. So let's start at the beginning on deck 4 and check out the Neptune theatre. The theatre is a good size for the ship with an upper level balcony on deck 5. There are plenty of seats available. The front 2 rows are bucket seat style, and after a while these weren't particularly comfortable to sit in. But you did get great views of the entertainment. The sofa style seating was more comfortable, with tables and drink holders for any beverages you ordered within the theatre. Yes folks, there was bar service available in here, which was great. There was a ramp into the theatre so wheelchair users could easily access the area, and there was reserved seating for them. There is also a hearing loop system for hearing impaired guests that you access at the sound desk on deck 5. The entertainment was varied, with a string of songs from the showcast to guest comedians, singers and instrumentalists. In the daytime, there were lectures. I thought the entertainment in here was okay, certainly not the best I've seen at sea. But you could always get a seat even if you turned up a few seconds before the show was to start. However, the one show I absolutely loved was the cruise show, where Fred Olsen gave the crew the opportunity to show us their talents, and boy did these girls and guys have it. Now, right at the front of deck 4 is the forecastle area, which is accessed on deck 3. This is the space to get some great views, messy hairdos and no queues of people around you. It's empty most of the time, so if you like solitude and the open sea, this is your viewing platform. However, it does close in bad weather, so don't be too disappointed if you can't get out there in a force 9 gale. After making myself look presentable, I would happily pose for the ship photographer. Never pushy and always polite, it was a delight to look at the photos in here. You could purchase various packages and the prices were displayed. Most of the staff at guest services were good, but we did have an issue with one member who wasn't particularly well trained. However, this was resolved very quickly and satisfactorily. Destination services are located here, and we did 3 trips which were really good and well priced compared to some cruise lines I've cruised with. For more information on these, check out our destination vlogs. Onto the auditorium. Now this is the space that held the cookery demonstrations, and I learned how to make a Todd Man goong. Sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. They even give you the recipe and instructions. Now Giles, my husband, is looking forward to the day I make it, but until then he will have to make do with salads. Colours and Tastes restaurant is a speciality dining option on board. We tried it one evening and I'll tell you more about this in my full food review. It is small, intimate and the service was excellent. Talking of food, let's show you the main restaurants on board. These are the Borealis on deck 4 and the Aurora on deck 5. I'll cover both of these in my food review, but you can see the restaurants are well furnished, spacious and service is superb. So let's move up to deck 5 where most of the action happens. The Oriental Tea Room is a small space that was very rarely used on my cruise. It's a lovely area with comfortable seating, and there never seemed any entertainment in here unless the rare tea tasting event was taking place. We just sat in here often to relax and read. You can purchase some interesting tea, but we never did. We just grabbed a drink from a nearby bar and sat drinking that. I absolutely loved the Earth Room. It is a small space with some really interesting books to browse through. Comfortable chairs and David Attenborough looking over me. What more could a girl on a trip to Norway ask for? It was very busy in the daytime, but in the evening it was empty. Let's move on to the Bookmark Cafe. Now, first of all, I had to be dragged past the cake selection every day because it was so delicious. You do have to pay for any tea, coffee or food in this area, but the prices are very reasonable. I did have a coffee in here which was very good, although the included coffee in the buffet was fine, so I didn't feel the need to buy a coffee from here on a daily basis. Always packed during the daytime with people enjoying the pleasant surroundings, it was the place to browse the bookshelves, play a board game or do a jigsaw. It was quite noisy in the day with the chit-chat of people using it as a social meeting place, chatting with new friends and old, but in the evening this venue was very quiet. Now on to my favourite public area on the ship, the Botanical room. This has a lot of comfortable seating and there is even birdsong piped through the speakers, so you really feel like you are in a botanical glass house. With great decor, interesting books and an artist working in there regularly, it was a great place to come and unwind. Surprisingly, this space was never packed. We always got a seat by the window. It may be because there is no bar here, so we just got a drink from the bar next door and used the botanical room to sit in. There was no evening entertainment in here, which I think is great, as it's a space that people can use who just want to entertain themselves. Now, if you are someone who likes to shop, there are plenty of opportunities on here for such a small ship. I was really surprised at the amount of retail therapy you can access. What I did like was there was a selection of toiletries and medicines to purchase. We needed a tub of Vicks and we managed to get one on here. There's your usual duty-free selection of perfumes and alcohol, along with clothes, jewellery and bags. I don't normally buy this sort of thing on a ship because I do think that the prices are a little bit more expensive than back on land. But hey, if you want to treat yourself, why not? I restrained myself. My suitcase was at its limit. It was bulging when I boarded. The card room wasn't a place we frequented often, but there are plenty of card tables in here, and on our cruise there seemed to be lots of bridge tournaments taking place and also lessons if you wanted to learn how to play. If you are into bridge, I think you'd spend a lot of time in here. Liverpool Rummy is my go-to card game and we just played this in the morning light pub area. This area is one of the biggest lounge areas on the ship and was always busy day and night, with lots going on in here such as live music and quizzes throughout the day, and in the bar area there were television screens showing football. We normally got served fairly quickly in here. Occasionally we did have to wait to receive our drinks, but that's when it was packed and we always got an apology from the waiters who were excellent. The seating is comfortable and the decor is homely. It feels like an opulent pub lounge rather than a backstreet boozer. I love the fact that there are games scattered around the tables and there's even an indoor shuffleboard and bar billiards table. Bar billiards? When did you last see one of those? Let me know if you know how to play it in the comment section. I didn't have a clue. Now here is a shop I've never seen before on a cruise ship. A flower shop. If you want a bunch for your room, come in here. My husband wouldn't know what to do in a flower shop because he's never bought me any, apart from some daisies he picked in a field once. Moving on swiftly, we'll go to the Ocean Bar. This was quiet in the daytime and busier in the evenings. There was plenty of entertainment in here with live music, martini cocktail events, and if you like your ballroom dancing, then this was the place to come because there was a little dance floor and that was really well utilised. The bar service was always really quick and friendly in here. The decor in here felt a little bit more formal. It sort of gave me Cunard vibes. If you're on board and you want to book your next cruise, future bookings are here to help you. Right, let's take a final look at the atrium that spans decks 3, 4 and 5 with the magnificent clock that is apparently made out of recycled materials. It feels very small for a ship atrium, but it is designed beautifully, and I spent quite a bit of time just looking at the clock and the artwork around it. Fred Olsen does art wonderfully. It was a big surprise for me just how much original art is dotted around the ship. Right, get your hat back on because on deck 6 there is the lookout. This is another observation area at the front of the ship to take in the wonderful views. It's hidden away and not many people seem to access it on our trip. Moving up, you can use the lifts or the stairs. There are 3 lots located at the aft, midship and front of the ship. On to deck 8, another busy deck. The view bar is located at the aft, serving the sunbeds and tables behind the buffet restaurant. Now, we never used this bar as the weather wasn't great in Norway in October, but I imagine this would be a lovely space to sit in the sun and chill. There is an interesting central model in the middle of the area. I presume it was something else in Borealis's former life as a Holland-American ship. Again, I quite liked it, but if something is a little bit different, I do tend to go with it. The View Buffet restaurant is next door, and I'll give you a full review in my food review. It's fairly spacious for a ship of this size. There are hand washing and sanitising points at the entrances, with staff serving you the majority of food. There are times when it's really packed, and I did walk away, but if you time it right, you can feel quite calm and tranquil. As they say, it's all in your timing. You can help yourself to tea, coffee and water 24 hours a day up here, so there's no need to dehydrate. The Lido pool bar serves the pool area and was a lovely place to sit. The retractable roof was on during our cruise, so we were lovely and toasty warm when we took a dip in the swimming pool and tested out the jacuzzis. We were cruising on a cold cruise, so this area was never busy and it was really easy to get a seat or swim in a pool on your own. I imagine in warmer climates things would be much busier, and I'm not sure if the space looked big enough to handle around 1,300 guests. Let me know if you've cruised on Borealis in the summer. What is the pool area like in warmer temperatures? Now, there's also a table tennis area here and a dartboard too, and there were some competitions held in this area, but I'm just rubbish at both things, so I just watched. Another little hidden gem for me was the poolside cafe. Again, I'll tell you all about it in the food review, but this area is open from 10 till 5 p.m. daily, serving a small but really good selection of food that I was surprised to see at a poolside grill. And the staff, well, they were absolutely lovely here. On this cruise, I tried out the Atlantis Spa on 3 occasions. I went to the thermal suite for an hour, which is exclusive to you and your partner, and spent a wonderful relaxing time in the steam rooms, hot tub and warm beds. My only criticism was the hot tub didn't bubble. Please don't make your own bubbles after a visit to the buffet. I also had a Thai massage, which was okay, but I realised that perhaps massages aren't my thing. And I also decided on a bit of a whim to get my hair cut and blow dried. It cost me £50. The spa does have lots of facilities for you to use, and the prices are available to you in their literature. Now, we had every intention of using the fitness centre every day. We were going to use the running machines for 30 minutes, then do some strengthening exercises on the machines and with the free weights. I had also planned to do some stretching and yoga on the floor area. There were lots of classes included that you could participate in, and I had every intention of trying these out. However, I went once and then forgot all about the gym for the rest of my holiday. Come with me now up to deck 9 and let's get crafty together. The Olsen Art Studio was the place to release your inner child and get the paper glue and glitter out. I thought you could just come in and use the facility, but it seemed that there was a regular craft club on each morning when at sea, and the lady who ran it, Sue, showed me some of the wonderful items you could make during your cruise. I have to say they were some of the best I've seen at sea. I really wanted to come back and make a bookmark for my daughter who is in New Zealand at the moment, but I lost track of time and missed the class. If you love craft, definitely check out this space. It is amazing. Outside on deck 9 is the sports court for all you pickleball enthusiasts. I didn't see it being used on our cruise. Perhaps you need better weather. I suspect this is another area you can sit and sunbathe on in warmer climates. The top of the retractable roof can be seen here. At the front of deck 9 is our last bar, the observatory. This is your crow's nest style of bar with fabulous views across the ocean. There's a big variety of seats in here, and it is one of the larger bars on board. There's lots going on in here during the day and evening, with bingo, line dancing, karaoke, silent discos and live music. It is very much the late night venue on board. As I'm normally in bed for 10 p.m, I didn't really get to experience it late at night, but I'm told you can hang around here until the early hours of the morning making new friends. There is a deck 10, the sun deck, but this was closed for the majority of my cruise. The sun was rarely out. So let's run all the way back down to the bottom of the ship. I'm out of breath. And deck 1 is the place you just need to know has the medical centre, but let's try not to visit there. Another little gem is the ship has a self-service laundry on deck 2. It costs £3 for a token from guest services, and that includes your wash and detergent, so there's no need to bring your own. The tumble dryers and irons are free to use, and it's a great little space and didn't seem too busy on the last day when I popped in. Now, on deck 3, this ship actually has a full wraparound promenade. Hooray! If you know me, you know I love a prom deck. It's nice and wide with sunbeds and seating, and you can just walk around and round for your heart's content. It tells you which way to walk and how many laps to do if you want to get in a certain distance. We spent a lot of time down here, and it's just great for pictures and getting a good blast of fresh air. I hope you found it useful and practical. If you have, please help our channel out by giving us a thumbs up. Drop us a comment, as this also helps YouTube push our video out to people who may not have seen us before. We release weekly travel videos trying to give you as much information as possible about ships, ports and travel destinations, all with a little bit of warmth and humour. Join Giles and I over on Facebook and Instagram to find out more about travelling light. We've even got a website now as well. So I look forward to spending time with you again next time, but until then, happy travels. Thank you, bye.